Tua, I've been curious how much you and Jalen have looked at Alabama tape of when you played together, if at all. Have you done that a single time since the Dolphins drafted him? And is there benefit to that or not really at this point?
No, well, I haven't talked to him about it, but we haven't had that time to sit down and look over our tape at Alabama. Um, I think tape is one thing, but going out there and getting reps with that person is another. You don't know if they got better at route, this certain route, or the timing is a little different. And I think that's the thing that we continue to stress, that we continue to harp, and that we continue to work on.
How much, was there anything specific you remember about playing the Patriots last year defensively that they did that, that you're kind of working on now, and how much of that game film from last year?
I mean, they're a tough defense. I think you look at the resume of Coach Belichick. I mean, really, really good defenses. And this is like no other week. We take all these games serious. And, for me, I think it's really just getting the ball out quick and letting our playmakers make plays for us.
How does this start ahead of week 1 of this season feel similar and or different to your first start last year?
Yeah, I think it feels different this year just because we had prior games leading up to the opener against the Patriots. But, I think another thing, too, is you have more of a feel as far as the expectation, of the team and what you also expect, the Patriots to come out doing as well.
Feel kind of those, like, any sort of the emotions similar, butterflies or excitement or just those kinds of things?
Yeah, I think there's more so excitement this year than last year. Last year, when I had my opportunity, I think there were more so butterflies just because I didn't know how things were going to hold up, just coming off the hip injury and whatnot last year.
How different do you feel from the quarterback that was on film that teams will review this offseason now, coming to year 2?
Well, for me, I'm just focused on what we can do. And I try to put myself in a situation where I'm Bill Belichick. If I was Bill Belichick, what would I want to do to stop myself? And that's kind of how I try to go about that.
Along those lines, you're right. It is going to be a Bill Belichick team. It's going to be a great defense. You know that going in. And I don't want to say easy because I know it's absolutely not easy. But is there a difference in preparing for a certain scheme when you're in the second year? Have you noticed difference when you're looking at film and just how you're processing things as opposed to the way you were last year?
Yeah, I would say yes, only because of the experiences I've had with a veteran like Fitz, and then carrying it over to the experiences I'm now having, with Jacoby in the room, and just different ways of coaching. For me, I try to find the middle and what works for me as far as my preparation going into a week like this.
You said you never know. You can't just rely on the experience in college because you never know where people have improved. Where has Jalen improved since your time together?
Yeah, I think his biggest improvement is his communication. In college, Jalen would speak up here and there, but you really see him now. You come to the sideline after a series, he's out there telling me like, hey, like this is why I'm running this route. I'm running it because this and that, and this is where I'm expecting the ball. He's kind of telling me like, do this, like, and it's not asking. It's more so telling. And I think as a quarterback, you look at that and, for someone as young as him, you look at that and I would say you're really happy because it shows his confidence in his play. And, he's kind of hoping to have that same confidence in you to, and trust to throw him the ball into, certain areas.
Well, in terms of raising your voice and putting your input in, not just on the offensive concepts in general, but also the weekly game plan, how has that evolved or changed for your second year here?
I would say I had that last year too, but it's really us as quarterbacks talking in the quarterback room. For me, I might like something, and someone else might have an input of this is how we can make it better by doing this or doing that, maybe giving a fake on this. So it's really just open communication in that room.
I
I remember I was reading a story about you back at Alabama when it was you, Jalen, and Mac playing the scout team and just doing so well against the first team defense. They start to get riled up, and him kind of giving them the business and kind of talking back and forth. Do you always remember Mac as kind of being that fiery competitor? And what memories do you have of him kind of going up against the first team as the scout quarterback?
Yeah, no, Mac is fiercely competitive. Like Mac is a very put my head down, I'm going to work, and I'm going to do whatever I can, no matter who's on the other side. I'm going to do whatever I can to try to beat you guys,
Almost started a brawl. That's what I read. That like he was giving some of the defensive linemen just some. He got him on a snap on a hard snap. And they
Yeah.
weren't happy.
Well, I think that's something that you guys would have to ask Mac. I don't want to be the one to, initiate that. Or maybe you guys can ask Jalen about that. I don't know. So, from just my memory, Mac he's always been a big competitor, in our quarterback room. He takes what we learned in the quarterback room out to the field. And really his input, how smart he is on the field and whatnot, and knowing where to go with the ball. He's really smart.
Can you take me through some of maybe the battles you and he had, ping pong, free throw shooting, accuracy in practice? Like, what were kind of the battles you two guys had back
Yeah,
then?
it was none of the first two things that you said, but maybe the third one. We had accuracy, passing, throwing into the net. We were all competitive. Me, Jalen, and Mac, and whoever was in our quarterback room, that was really the expectation. Like, you got to do good, and we expected, that out of everyone. So.
Tim, final question here.
Thank you. Flo said this morning, and he's said versions of this many, many times, that he's one day at a time, he stays in the present, never nostalgic, nothing like that. How does that sort of approach that he lives by, that he coaches by, how does that sort of permeate the room? How do you guys sort of process that? And do you find yourself kind of thinking about things the same way, that you're just worried about today, not before, not tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it keeps everyone even keel. It keeps everyone level-headed. And I think that helps with consistency for all of us in the building. When you try to look too far ahead, you're not focused about, the task at hand and what we got to do now. The execution on the offensive side, it's not going to go well. And I would expect the same for the special team guys, and the defensive guys. So, yeah, I would say I live by that, just taking it one meeting at a time, one practice at a time. And yeah, maybe one sip of this Pedialyte, I don't know, at a time. But yeah, that's really what it is.